Hey everyone, this is Jason Dunn from Digital Home Thoughts, and I'm doing an unboxing video and first impressions of the Dell Inspiron Mini 10. The courier just delivered this unit to me about 10 minutes ago, so I'm tearing into it right away because I'm pretty excited about what's going to be inside. Although I will point out right at the beginning, this is the Dell Mini 10 that Dell is shipping today. The Dell Mini 10 that they announced at CES that had some really exciting features like integrated TV tuner, integrated GPS, etc. That is not yet released. So this particular Mini 10 has a lot in common with the Mini 9. But there were a lot of things I liked about the Mini 9, and I'm hoping that the Mini 10 addresses some of the things that I did not like. So let's tear in and get started. So inside we have the typical packaging for the Mini 10. Now, as you can maybe already tell, I ordered the red version. The Mini 10 does come in a variety of different colors, and I opted to go for what I thought looked like a really hot red. So we'll see what the... oh yeah, I dig that. That is a nice red. Super high glossy, probably going to be a fingerprint magnet, but it definitely looks very nice. Yeah, so this is very similar to the Mini 9. There's a few different changes. Pretty cool actually that it has dual USB ports on the side here. So there's actually 3 USB ports in total. So yeah, I guess we'll start over here. We'll walk through what's on the device. We have an Ethernet port here. We have 2 USB ports, as I mentioned, an HDMI port, which is actually really cool to see. There's not a lot of netbooks that have an HDMI port. A microphone jack here and a headphone jack. There's really nothing to speak of on the front of the unit. We have a secure digital memory stick and MMC card slot here. There's an additional USB port, power, and then there's a Kensington lock. On the bottom here, not a whole lot to see. We have the battery, and I'm not 100% sure. I think that this is still a 4-cell battery like the Mini 9. I'll just see if I can see how many kilowatt hours it is. I'm not actually 100% sure. Alright, so I got the battery back on. It was slightly tricky. The battery actually comes in and out rather than up and down, as is with most netbooks. Windows XP Home Edition, and let's just open this up and take a look at what is inside. So down here we have a nice sizable keypad. It looks like they went with touch buttons maybe for the left and the right click, so there's no hardware buttons here for left and right click. I'm not entirely sure how well that's going to work, but it's it's an interesting idea. Some of the other netbooks, of course, put them on the left and the right, which some people complain about. So maybe this is an interesting way of addressing that problem. Looks like we have a very nice kind of full-size keyboard here. Big shift keys on the left and on the right. Caps lock. Arrow keys are a little bit small, but that again is pretty typical. But it looks like it's a pretty good configuration. Up here we have the screen. This is a 10.1 inch screen, and it is, I believe it's 1024 by, I think it might be 576 on the resolution, because if memory serves, when I ordered this, this is actually a 16 by 9 aspect ratio screen. So this is the same aspect ratio as many televisions, any modern plasma, or LCD. So let's put that aside for just a moment, and we'll see if there's anything else worth noting inside the box here. So we have a power adapter. Slide that out here. Not a bad size, all told. This is definitely smaller than a lot of the typical bundles that you see, like the HP Mini that has the power brick, the cable to the laptop, and then they have a whole big extra long cable. You've heard me talk about that in other videos, so this is actually kind of cool to see Dell continuing the trend of a small power supply. And we also have setup guide, and yeah, looks like there's a couple disks in here. Reinstall disk for Windows XP, application disk, drivers, and then this is going to be Microsoft Works 9. So all the basics. I do notice here there's actually a little thing about setting up the default screen resolution. That's kind of interesting because I don't think I've seen that before, so I'm not sure if that means that it's going to boot up at the wrong resolution like my last laptop did, which wasn't a big deal, but the Mini 9, if you saw that video, it had this irritating habit of even if you set the resolution correctly, it would actually pop between two resolutions. So you boot it up and it'd be at one resolution, and then shortly after boot it would be at a different resolution, and there was no way to kind of fix that, and I thought that was kind of irritating. Apparently they fixed that in a firmware update, you know, like a ROM update. So I'm going to pause the video for a second here, and we'll open up the laptop, and then I'll see if the battery's charged, and we'll take a look at what it looks like when it's all booted up. Stand by. Alright, so while it's booting up, I thought it might be a good idea to go through just some of the specifications. It's not a lot different, you know, than other netbooks on the market today, but there are a couple minor differences. I mentioned that I thought it was a 4-cell battery. I was a bit off. It's actually a 24 watt-hour 3-cell lithium-ion battery. I'll have to look up the watt hours and compare that to the Mini 9, because the Mini 9 was a 4-cell battery, so these may be bigger cells, but of course there's one less cell, so we'll see how that works out for battery life. The CPU inside this is an Intel Atom Z530, which is 1.6 gigahertz, pretty typical. It's got an Intel GMA 500 for the graphics. Now that's a little bit different. I talked about this on Digital Home Thoughts rather, and essentially this particular graphics chip is a little bit different than the typical one, which actually should give it maybe better battery life. This particular chip uses less battery than the normal, I think it's the GMA 945 or something. In terms of storage, this guy actually has a pretty big hard drive. It's a 160 gig SATA drive. It's a standard 2.5 inch drive, which means that it should be easily upgradable if you wanted to put something bigger in there. There's also a 1.3 megapixel camera. I mentioned the screen is 10.1 inches, and that's basically about it for the hardware. It's got, you know, built-in Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, which is pretty standard. This is 802.11 ANG, so it's not N. And yeah, that's about it. One of the real questions, you know, with this particular laptop is actually whether or not the cost is sort of justified. So this one was actually $564 Canadian. Now, if you know anything about netbooks, you know that that's a fairly high price to pay. You know, there's lots of great netbooks that can be had on the market for, you know, $350, $400, things like that. And so the question becomes, you know, why is Dell sort of charging so much for this? One of the reasons I would say is build quality. The build quality of the Inspiron is definitely very, very high. This feels and looks a lot better than my MSI Wind or the Acer Aspire 1. So if build quality is important, it's one thing to consider that you're definitely going to be paying for. In terms of a size comparison, maybe I'll just shut this down here and we can just take a real quick peek. On the left here I have the HP Mini 1000, and you can tell it's pretty close in terms of size. The Dell is a hair wider this way. They're virtually the same in terms of length and in terms of thickness. Really, really close. The Dell is kind of tapered at the front here, so it looks a little bit thinner here, but when it evens out, it looks like the Dell's maybe just a hair thicker. The screen and the kind of the top bezel looks a little bit thicker, but yeah, pretty good size. So that's basically it for my first impressions and unboxing video here. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Be sure to watch my YouTube channel and subscribe for the follow-up after I put this thing through its paces and give it a full review. It's been Jason Dunn from Digital Home Thoughts. Thanks for watching.